Hey, this is Brian from The Sleeping Elephant. I'm going to review Righteous Indignation. Excuse me while I save the world. The book contains a partial bio as well as his journalistic techniques. Andrew is the father to the Breitbart media empire, and he unfortunately passed away around 2011 or so. Some interesting angles you learn from the book is he took a cross-country trip around America, and that is something you learn about yourself and your own country, something every male should be able to do. He even listened to Alan Watts, which is one of my favorite influences in the past few years. His disdain for the religious right, his use of LexisNexis, contrasts and comparisons through his style with Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals tactic. If you have not read that book, it is a must-read book. It doesn't matter if you're right or left wing, just for the sake of understanding. Funny thing is, he actually started with Huffington Post and eventually moved on his own, and didn't want to get caught up in that news cycle of the Democratic media complex. Even Gabriel Garcia Marquez made an appearance in this book. I had no clue that he would even be mentioned in this book. There's talk about smear campaigns, social justice, economic equality, cultural Marxism, Hollywood leftist colony, Green Day and Berkeley, John Wayne types versus the Vietnam anti-war types, groupthink, collectivist mindset, fake news, and the New York Times. So this is something that you have to catch on early. I caught on to this maybe always with the propaganda. But 2005, I started to head away from blogs and just started reading books, getting real world experiences. And as Andrew puts it, pop culture matters when pop culture doesn't really matter, but for the sheep, it matters, and how you navigate around that. I like this quote Chris Rock voices, "Get your government off my freedom." Another one concerning Teddy Roosevelt, and this is very interesting, especially with the populist movement with Trump. Trump is no Theodore Roosevelt. He's got tons of flaws, and I don't even follow this guy that much. Here's what it said. Teddy slammed those who disagreed with him, characterizing typical American self-reliance as selfishness. Collectivism was the new cool. The easy-to-see individualism versus collectivism and why males are going to collectivists, it just shows you how weak males are nowadays. Some other interesting techniques are the Hegelian Dialectic. This is something you have to understand. He uses an example of the Hegelian Dialectic sex technique, so make sure you pay attention to that story in the book. Some Saul Alinsky techniques: don't be afraid to go into enemy territory. Flexibility, having a sense of humor, using ridicule. These are all from Rules for Radicals. And if you haven't read that book, make sure you even read that book before you read this. Have fun, be playful, and enjoy the game. The media is fast, and Andrew Breitbart goes through his having an ADHD addiction to the media, where it's very fast, and you're not living in the present moment. It's something that just happened. It's a shallow type of world now with Snapchat, Instagram. There's no depth unless you actually take that risk. You actually go out there and get experiences, and you focus and go deep. The Breitbart publication is not the same as it used to be. It is March 12, 2017. It's raised people like Steve Bannon, which is part of the Trump administration. Ben Shapiro, who wrote many books, he's kind of like a wimp though, but he's got some talent and he's got clear tactics to defend and argue and debate with the left. Then you have Dana Loesch. She's got a pretty good book. I'll eventually review them, Flyover Nation, and a gun book. And then Milo Yiannopoulos, and rising star of the cultural movement, the trolling as a virtue, and giving attention to men's issues, Gamergate, and feminism, with feminism being a cancer of American culture. And after that, the Michelle Fields grab drama. Also how Breitbart got famous, I guess, was the Wiener story. It's kind of a dumb story, and the Acorn issue. I got to do more research on that, but I find most of the politics boring. However, check out this book. It's a must read. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend this book, so go ahead and pick it up. Thanks for listening.